Welcome back to the Deep Dive. It is good to have you with us. Usually when we sit down at these microphones, we have a stack of papers in front of us that are, let's be honest, a little intimidating.
Oh, yeah, the heavy stuff.
We're usually unpacking complex geopolitical shifts or the latest breakthroughs in quantum computing or maybe some incredibly dense hysterical analysis of, supply chain.
Stuff that requires a lot of coffee, a lot of highlighting.
Exactly. The eat your vegetables kind of content. But
Today's different.
Today is different. I was looking through the research packet for this session, and I honestly had to double check that we hadn't accidentally swapped files with a cartoon nostalgia blog.
Right.
Because today, we aren't talking about world leaders or tech moguls. We are talking about idiots.
Well, specifically, we are talking about the idiot archetype in animation. The fool, the simpleton, the character who exists seemingly just to walk into walls,
Flip on banana peels.
and forget their own name for our amusement.
Right. We all know them. We all grew up with them. They are the comic relief. They are the safety valve in the narrative that keeps things from getting too serious.
Yeah, the tension release.
But here's the thing, and this is why I was so excited to actually dig into this. What if we have been totally...
It is a fascinating premise, isn't it? The source material we are looking at today challenges that fundamental perception. It suggests that for many of these iconic figures, stupidity isn't a deficit.
It's not a bug, it's a feature.
Exactly. It isn't a lack of hardware. It is a shield or a weapon, or in some cases, a very specific calculated choice.
So we are asking the question, which of these characters are actually geniuses playing 4D chess while everyone else is playing checkers? We've got a lineup of suspects that is honestly legendary. We are talking Patrick Star from SpongeBob.
The big one.
Homer Simpson, Cosmo from The Fairly Odd Parents, Philip J. Fry from Futurama, Kronk, Ed Billy, and Suze from Gravity Falls.
It is quite the roster. A real who's who of cartoon buffoonery.
It really is. And our mission here is to deconstruct their behavior. We need to move past the surface-level gags, the eating rocks, the falling downstairs.
Let's the slapstick stuff.
And look at the specific evidence, the specific episodes that reveal what is actually happening in those brains, or in some cases, the lack thereof.
Right. What's going on behind the vacant stare?
So let's unpack this. I want to start with the heavyweight champion of dumb, the starfish himself, Patrick Star.
A logical place to start. He is the gold standard for the archetype.
I mean, talk about a baseline of stupidity. If you grew up watching SpongeBob, or even if you just exist on the internet and see the memes, you know Patrick.
Oh, you know Patrick.
The source material puts it pretty ruthlessly. You can get more brain activity from rocks than from a starfish. And biologically speaking, that's accurate, right?
It is, yeah. Starfish don't have a central brain. They have a distributed nervous system, a nerve net. So in a way, he's anatomically correct pitidity.
But in the context of the show, Patrick's stupidity is aggressive. It's not just that he doesn't know things. It's that he seems to actively repel knowledge.
It's an aura of anti-intellect.
It really is. We have detailed examples here in the notes. I mean, he forgets how to eat. There are scenes where he puts food near his face and just misses. Completely misses.
Or the classic moment where he mistakes a jar of mayonnaise for...
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
It's a funny line, but it implies a profound disconnect from, object permanent, from reality itself.
And, perhaps most famously, when faced with an existential threat, the Alaskan bullworm, his proposed solution is just. It's breathtaking.
We should take Bikini Bottom and push it somewhere else.
It's so simple. Why didn't anyone else think of that?
I quote that weekly. It is the definition of absurdity. It is so dumb, it's fun. But, and here's where it gets really interesting, the source points to a very specific turning point.
Okay.
The brain coral. This is where the theory that Patrick is a secret genius really gets right. This is the smoking gun. So for those who haven't seen this specific episode in a while, let's break it. The incident involves Patrick falling off a sheer cliff.
A classic slapstick setup. Nothing new there.
Right. But the consequences are severe. The trauma is significant enough that the top of his head literally pops off. The source says, like a bottle.
Which is horrifying if you think about it too much. It's literal body horror in a children's show.
It really is. I mean, his brain matter is just gone. So SpongeBob is there, and he's in a panic. He sees Patrick's head is open, so he grabs a piece of brain coral from the seafloor and just screws it onto Patrick's head to replace the missing piece. He essentially upgrades the hardware.
And the effect is instantaneous, right? It's not a slow learning curve. There's no adjustment period.
It is like a light switch. Suddenly, Patrick isn't drooling or staring into space. He stands up, brushes himself off, and starts speaking in full, complex sentences.
With a different accent, almost.
A very eloquent, sophisticated tone. He is using words like indubitably and salutation.
Indubitably. I love that. But it's not just that he swallowed a thesaurus. It's not just vocabulary.
No, and that's the crucial distinction the research makes. It's not just vocabulary, it's cognitive processing.
Okay, explain that.
The source highlights a specific moment where he looks at one of Sandy Cheek's mathematical equations on a chalkboard. Now, we have to remember, Sandy is the resident. She is a scientist.
She's a squirrel in a spacesuit living underwater. She's doing advanced physics.
Exactly. She is doing calculus and astrophysics for fun, and Patrick, the guy who eats rock, corrects her.
He corrects the scientist.
And the dialogue here is very specific. He doesn't just say that's wrong. He explains the error. He tells her to change the literal term to a coefficient so the minuend will achieve the desired quotient.
Okay, stop right there. I read that in the notes and I glazed over. Change the literal term to a coefficient so the minuend will achieve the desired quotient. Break that down for us non-math geniuses. What does he actually say?
It's impressive. So a minuend is a term from subtraction. It's the quantity from which another quantity is to be subtracted. A literal term is basically a variable, like x or y.
Oh.
He's looking at a complex algebraic structure and realizing that the variables are in the wrong relationship to the baseline numbers. He is mentally rearranging the structure of the equation to make it balance. This is high-level abstract reasoning.
That is wild. And the source makes a great point here. Patrick didn't learn this. He didn't go to night school in the 5 seconds between the cliff and Sandy's house.
Exactly. He accessed it. The capacity for that processing power was there, but it needed the right hardware, the brain coral, to be connected. It implies that the software for genius exists within him, but he's usually running on, empty hardware.
A dial-up modem instead of fiber optic.
A perfect analogy. But here is the tragedy, right? Because there is always a tragedy with these smart characters. He doesn't keep the brain coral.
No, he doesn't. And this is where we get into the voluntary ignorance theory.
Right. Patrick realizes that his newfound intelligence is creating a rift, a social problem. He is alienating SpongeBob.
He's not fun anymore.
He's not fun! He's analytical and distant. He finds jellyfishing boring. He looks at their games and sees them as childish and simplistic.
So his intelligence is isolating.
Terribly. He realizes that being smart is costing him his happiness and his best friend.
He does the math.
He does the math, pun intended, and realizes the cost is too high, so he takes it off. He physically removes the enhancement. He chooses to be dumb.
He voluntarily removes it to save the friendship. He reverts to being, as the source puts it, thick as pig.
Yep, back to drooling and eating Krabby Patties.
But it leaves us with a lingering suspicion. The source asks a very provocative question. If he can switch it on and off, or if he knows what he's capable, how do we know he hasn't been pretending this whole time?
That is the part that messes with me. Is he faking the stupidity to maintain the social contract?
Is it an app?
Is he playing the fool because he knows that is his role in the ecosystem of Bikini Bottom? It suggests a level of emotional intelligence that is actually far superior to his IQ. He knows what he needs to be.
That is surprisingly deep for a starfish. It's the tragedy of intelligence. If understanding the world makes you lonely, is it better to just mistake mayonnaise for an instrument and have a laugh with your buddy?
Patrick seems to think so.
He does. It's a valid philosophical stance, prioritizing bliss over awareness.
And that parallels perfectly with our next suspect.
Oh, yes, it does. Because if Patrick is the oceanic version of this, our next guy is the suburban version. The man, the myth, the safety inspector, Homer J. Simpson.
Homer is the archetype for the bumbling father. He has held that title for...
The source lists his resume of incompetence, and it is staggering. He works at a nuclear plant sector 7G, but half the time he doesn't know what his press his button.
He caused a nuclear meltdown in a simulator van.
In a van, which physicists would tell you takes a special kind of physics-defying incompetence.
It really does. You have to work hard to achieve that.
And domestic incompetence, too. I mean, forgetting his wife's name occasionally. And the cereal. We have to talk about the cereal.
Oh, the cereal, please.
He pours milk.
Yeah.
Or cereal, and it bursts into flames.
It defies the laws of chemistry. It's beautiful.
But similar to Patrick, the research points out that there is a biological explanation for this baseline stupidity. It's not just who he is, it's a condition.
It's a medical...
It is. It is what we call the crayon.
The crayon theory. This comes from a classic episode, one of the best.
Lay it on us.
So it is revealed that when Homer was a child, he was playing with a full box of crayons. And, being Homer, he shoved one up his nose.
As one does.
But he didn't stop there. He wasn't satisfied with one. He kept going until he shoved one all the way up until it literally lodged in his brain.
Oh, my God.
The doctors determined that this foreign object, this powder blue crayon, has been pressing on his frontal lobe for decades. They estimate it is lowering his IQ by roughly 50 points.
50 points.
Yeah.
That is massive. Yeah. That is the difference between functioning and, well, Homer. That's the difference between an average person and a genius.
It's a huge margin.
Right.
Precisely. And in the episode where this is discovered, they remove it. And just like Patrick, the transformation is immediate. Homer becomes properly smart.
It's jarring to watch, actually. His voice changes. His posture changes.
He starts solving Rubik's Cubes in seconds. He is articulate. He proves Fermat's last theorem by accident on a chalkboard. But the biggest change is his relationship with...
Yes, that's the heart of it. For the first time, he can meet Lisa on her level. They go to plays. They have deep philosophical discussion. He isn't just the embarrassing dad.
He's a peer. He's a friend. It's a beautiful moment. You see this connection they've both been craving their whole lives.
But look at the rest of his life. The source emphasizes the emotional fallout. When Homer becomes intelligent, he becomes miserable.
Why do you think that is? What is he?
Well, based on the episode, he starts seeing the reality of his situation. He sees how dead-end his job is. He writes a report proving the nuclear plant is a catastrophic failure waiting to happen, and nobody cares.
He sees the flaws in his friends.
Exactly. He looks at Moe, Lenny, and Carl. These are his best friends, his entire social life. But suddenly he realizes they are just guys sitting in a dark bar, drinking cheap beer and burping.
They don't want to talk about current events. They don't want to analyze the world. They want to watch the game.
So he is ostracized. The smart Homer is lonely. He's an outcast in his own life.
He is. And this leads to the defense chant, which is one of the darkest, funniest moments in the show's history.
It's so good.
He can't take it anymore. The clarity is too painful. So he goes back to Moe, who is definitely not a licensed surgeon, and asks him to hammer the crayon back in.
He literally asks for the lobotomy. And as Moe is tapping it back in, Homer is guiding him. Little to the left, little to the right.
Until suddenly his eyes cross, his face goes slack, and he shouts, "Defense! Defense!"
He is cheering for a sports team because the brain damage just kicked back in. He is cheering for the return of his own ignorance.
Because ignorance is genuinely bliss for him.
It really makes you look at these characters differently. Patrick and Homer aren't victims of stupidity. In a way, they are beneficiaries.
They're using it as a coping. It is a survival strategy to maintain their social circles, families together, and to maintain a general baseline of contentment. They have to suppress their potential.
It is a choice. A tragic choice, maybe, but a choice.
A very deliberate one.
Okay, so that is the voluntary ignorance category. That's about choosing happiness over IQ.
Yeah.
But what about when it's not about happiness? What about when it's about chaos? Or maybe secret competence?
This brings us to Cosmo.
Cosmo, from the Fairly Odd Parents. Now, this guy, he is dangerous.
He is a walking natural disaster. The source highlights his destruction record, and it's extensive. He's portrayed as the dumbest fairy in existence.
Not just dumb, but catastrophically so.
And the stats back it up. We have the data on Atlantis.
He sank Atlantis, a recurring bit.
He sank the lost city of Atlantis, and not just once. The source corrects the common misconception, sank it 9 times.
Okay.
And then he granted a wish that sank it again just by thinking about it. So total, 10 times.
10 times. That is an impressive level of negligence. And he forgets which end of the wand to hold. He's constantly putting Timmy Turner in mortal danger just by being an idiot.
He's a liability with infinite power. It's a terrifying combination.
But then we have the anomaly, the Cosmocon incident.
Right. This is the outlier that breaks the model. This is the piece of data that doesn't fit.
So in this episode, it is revealed that Cosmo successfully organized, planned, and hosted a massive secret fairy convention.
Which, as anyone who has ever planned a wedding or even a birthday dinner knows, is a logistical nightmare.
Oh, absolutely. The source makes that comparison. Hosting a family gathering is hard enough. Cosmo coordinated hundreds of fairies.
Think about the logistics, site select, security, because he has to keep the whole thing secret from Jorgen von Strangle and the fairy authorities.
Right. It's an illegal gathering.
Catering, guest management, entertainment, all of it.
And he did it without, as the source says, burning down the universe.
Exactly. He pulled off a Black Ops event seamless. So how do we reconcile that? How does the guy who sinks Atlantis 10 times pull off a seamless convention?
It feels contradictory. It feels like two different characters.
There are a few theories. One is the acting theory. The source points out that in the early seasons of the show, Cosmo wasn't actually that dumb.
That's true. He was more impulsive and chaotic.
He was arguably as smart as his wife, Wanda. He was just a bit more loose, free spirit.
He got flanderized. He got dumber as the show went on for comedic effect.
Exactly. But the fact that he can pull off Cosmocon suggests that the competence is still there. He just hides it. Or, and this is the more disturbing theory, he is playing everyone. Think about his marriage dynamic.
Oh, this is the weaponized incompetence in marriage theory.
It is. He is married to Wanda. Wanda is brilliant. She is organized. She is type A. She is the responsible one. She handles everything.
The long-suffering wife.
Now, if you are Cosmo and you want to avoid doing the hard work, what's the best strategy?
Pretend you can't do it.
Oh, honey, I don't know how to use the dishwasher.
Exactly. Oh, Wanda, I forgot which end of the wand does the cleaning spell. If he acts helpless, she does the work. How has he survived a marriage for thousands of years if he is truly just a deadweight?
So maybe he plays dumb, so she handles the hard stuff. That is diabolical.
It is possible. The source asks, is he genuinely stupid or just so chaotic that people assume he's thick? It's ambiguous.
But Cosmicon proves he is capable of extreme focus when it is something he wants.
When it's his passion project, he's a genius event planner. When it's chores, he's a moron. It's suspicious.
Very suspicious. Speaking of weaponized incompetence, we have to talk about the character who literally saved the universe by being too dumb to control.
Philip J. Fry from Futurama.
Fry, the everyman moron.
He is the definition of the guy who fails Albert. Pizza delivery boy, falls into a freezer, wakes up 1,000 years later.
Yeah.
And he struggles with basic reality. The source mentions a multiple-choice question he faced at Mars University.
Oh, this is a great example of his academic struggles.
The question was, what tool is used to hammer a nail? A hammer. B, a nail. C, B, nail.
And he struggles with it. He is sweating. He's agonized.
He struggles hard. But Futurama does something brilliant with Fry. They take that stupidity and they make it a biological superpower.
They justify it with science fiction.
They do. It turns out Fry lacks the delta brainwave.
Right. So in the lore of the show, the delta brainwave is something that all conscious have. Humans, animals, robots, even certain sentient plants. It's the signature of a processing mind.
But Fry doesn't have it.
He does not. And we won't get into the time travel paradox of why he...
No, let's not. It's a whole thing.
It involves his own grandmother, and it's very complicated, but the result is that he is mentally unique.
And this uniqueness makes him immune to the brain spawn.
The brain spawn. These are giant flying brains that attack intelligence. They emit a stupefaction field that makes everyone dumb. If you are smart, they can read your thoughts and turn you into a vegetable.
But since Fry is already, well, Fry.
Since he lacks the delta wave, he is invisible to them. He is immune to their psychic attack. So when the big brain comes to take over the universe, everyone else, Leela, the professor, the smartest people in the galaxy, is incapacitated.
They are drooling. Useless.
And Fry's just standing there fine. He's just like, hey, what's up?
The antagonist literally couldn't outsmart Fry because, as the source puts it, there was nothing to outsmart.
You cannot manipulate a mind that isn't processing information in a linear, predictable way. It's like trying to hack a computer that's turned off.
It is the ultimate defense. Weaponized incompetence.
Precisely. Defeating hyper-intelligent aliens by being too scrambled to read. But the source argues it goes deeper than just biology. Fry has a different kind of intelligence.
He has heart. A ton of heart.
He has high emotional intelligence, yes. He loves Leela. He loves his dog Seymour. He cares about his friends more than anything. But also, he solves problems in ways that baffled the smart characters like Professor Farns.
That's true.
The source argues that Fry thinks outside the box because he had no idea there was a box.
I love that line. He had no idea there was a box. It's perfect.
While everyone else is constrained by logic, physics, and probability, Fry is just operating on instinct and hope. And in the Futurama universe, that often works better than...
He is smart in ways that books can't.
Exactly. And his lack of traditional intelligence is, paradoxically, humanity's greatest asset.
It's true. The number of times he saves the world just by being Fry is staggering. It challenges the definition of smart. If you are the only one left standing against the alien invasion, are you the idiot?
Or are you the evolutionarily superior being? It is a valid question. Results matter.
Okay, let's pivot to a different kind of dumb. The kind that isn't really dumb at all, but is just labeled that way because of the environment.
Oh, this is a...
I'm talking about Kronk from The Emperor's New Groove.
Oh, Kronk. He is a fan favorite for a reason. Just a wonderful, wonderful...
He is Yzma's henchman. That is his role. He is the dumb muscle. That is his job description. He's supposed to be big, strong, and follow orders.
And he fails at the following orders part constantly.
Constantly. He can't understand the complex evil schemes. He mixes up the poisons. He loses the body. He's a terrible henchman.
Objectively, yes. A failure at his chosen profession.
But the source argues that Kronk isn't dumb. He is a Renaissance man trapped in the wrong genre.
A Renaissance man. I like that. But the evidence supports it. Let's look at his skill. What can Kronk do?
First up, culinary arts.
The man is a gourmet chef. He makes spinach puffs that are apparently divine.
My spinach puffs. He has a panic attack about them overcooking while he's trying to dispose of a body.
He runs a kitchen. He discusses the nuances of cuisine with the confidence of a Michelin star chef. That requires timing, chemistry, multitasking, and a refined palate. That is not the behavior.
Not at all. Second skill, linguistic. Kronk is fluent in squirrel.
I forgot about the squirrel. This is a huge point.
He doesn't just make noises. He holds complex conversations. Squeaky, squeaking.
Right. He speaks to the woodland creatures. He has a network of informants. He translates specific directions. That implies a high level of linguistic flexibility and cognitive empathy. He's understanding a species.
And yet, Yzma calls him a moron every 5 minutes.
Because he is being judged by the standards of an evil villain. He is bad at being evil. He isn't bad at being smart. The source calls the boss.
Explain that.
He is a potential superhero, or at least a highly competent citizen, trying to fit into a villain's henchman role.
He's just too nice. He's too pure.
He is too damn nice to say no. His stupidity is actually moral. He hesitates because he doesn't want to kill the Emperor. He messes up the plan because his heart...
And the proof is in the ending, right? The proof is what happens after the movie.
Absolutely. When he finally stops listening to Isma, when he steps out of that dumb muscle box, he thrives. He ends up running a restaurant, being the head chef, teaching a troop of junior chipmunks squirrel. He is living his best life.
He just needed to change his environment. He was a fish being judged by his ability to climb a tree, essentially.
Exactly. He was a genius chef being judged by his ability to poison. Once he switched lanes, stupidity vanished.
That reminds me of another character who was often dismissed as just a dude. Suze from Gravity Falls.
Suze Ramirez, the lovable handyman of the mystery.
He says dude a lot. He is goofy. He wears the question mark t-shirt. He accidentally squashed a fairy Dipper was looking for.
Sorry, dude. He's just this big, lumbering, gentle giant.
On the surface, he is the simpleton sidekick. But the source compares him to Michael Scott from The Office.
Which is a very apt comparison. Michael Scott acts foolish, he tells bad jokes, but he's actually an incredible salesman. He's the best.
Right. And Susie acts foolish, but he is surprisingly competent.
Incredibly so.
He keeps the Mystery Shack running. And let's be real, that place is falling apart constantly. It's a death trap.
It's a tourist trap in the middle of a supernatural hotspot. The roof is leaking, the attractions are breaking, monsters are attacking weak. Suze fixes everything. He is an expert mechanic and repairman.
But beyond that, he is a puzzle solver. The source highlights that Suze often solves riddles that stump even the smart characters like Dipper.
Right. Dipper is the classic book-smart character. He overthinks. He looks for the complex conspiracy, the hidden code.
Suze just looks at the thing and sees what it is.
He cuts through the noise. He has a practical intelligence that the academics miss. There's a moment where a riddle says, look for the founder's glass, and Dipper is looking for actual eyeglass. Suze points to the glasses on a stained glass. A simple, obvious answer.
And let's look at his trajectory. By the end of the series, who takes over the Mystery Shack?
Suze does. Stan gives him the keys. He becomes Mr. Mystery.
And you cannot run a business, especially a tourist trap that scams people and deals with supernatural anomalies, if you are genuinely stupid.
No way. Stan Pines, the original owner, was a con artist genius. He wouldn't hand the keys to an idiot. He handed them to Suze because he knew Suze was capable and, more importantly, had a good heart.
So his dumbness is really just a relaxed personality. He is comfortable in his own skin, so he doesn't feel the need to prove he is smart all the time.
Which is, ironically, a very smart way to live. He doesn't have the ego or the anxiety that Dipper has. He's just Suze.
Okay, we have covered the fakers, the misunderstood, and the biological. Now, I want to talk about a category the source calls the savants of chaos.
Yes, this is where we get into the weird stuff, the really specialized intelligence.
We are talking about Ed from Ed. Ed and Ed.
Ed, the big one, the one with the unibrow, the lovable oaf.
His hobbies include eating dirt, talking to his buttered toast, and staring at the sun.
The source quotes him as being dumb in every definition. And honestly, watching the show, it is hard to argue. He runs through walls. He forgets what he is doing while he is doing it. He is pure.
He is a force of nature more than a...
Absolute. But there is an exception, very specific, narrow exception, where Ed becomes a scholar.
Monster movies and sci-fi.
The B movies. The cheaper, the better.
Exactly. When the topic shifts to horror movies or obscure B movies from the 50s, Ed undergoes a transformation. He becomes an encyclopedia.
He knows every actor, every plot hole, every special effect, every obscure reference.
He can recite scenes from memory. He knows the makeup effects artists. He can tell you the production history of Plan 9 from outer space.
The source notes that he shifts from a numpty to a walking encyclopedia. It is a classic savant profile. His general intelligence might appear low, but his passion-driven intelligence is off the charts.
And the expert's note here is interesting. He's just a kid. He's 13, maybe 14.
Right, he is still developing. The fact that he can retain that much information about his passions suggests his brain can work. It just only works when he cares.
Which, honestly, I relate to. If you ask me to do my taxes, I'm Ed eating dirt. If you ask me about podcast mic setups or signal flows, I'm a genius.
It is about Ed proves that stupidity is often just a lack of it. If you can't get his attention, he looks dumb. If you engage his passion, he's brilliant.
But then there's Billy.
From the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy.
Yeah.
Now we're at the bottom.
This is the extreme case. The source describes him as having the IQ of a particularly interesting rock and the attention span of a goldfish on crack.
That is a vivid description. And Billy is arguably the dumbest character on this. He is chaos incarnate. He is a threat to reality itself because he simply doesn't understand concepts.
He is the horrifying love child of every other moron we have discussed. But even Billy, even this agent of chaos, has a hidden utility.
He does. It is similar to Fry, but more aggressive. Billy's stupidity is so profound that it solves problems intelligence can't.
How so? Give me an example.
Well, he is often invincible because he doesn't realize he is in danger. Monsters try to scare him, and he just wants to be friends. Villains try to trap him, and he wanders out of the trap because he saw a shiny object.
He breaks the villain's script. They don't know how to react to him.
Exactly. You cannot plan against Billy because Billy doesn't have a plan. He is pure, and he is a random number generator in human form, and occasionally, very occasionally, he has these moments of clarity.
Flashes of wisdom.
The source mentions him warning Mandy about clowns. The clowns are nothing but ultimate, a rare moment of wisdom before he goes back to picking his nose, talking to his son, who is a spider.
It shows that somewhere deep down in that void, there is a spark, a tiny, tiny spark.
A spark that is immediately extinguished by a desire to eat paste, but it's there.
So we have gone through the list, we have analyzed the suspects, and I feel like my entire childhood has been recontextualized.
It certainly shifts the perspective on the Saturday morning cartoon lineup. You start looking for the hidden genius everywhere.
Let's try to synthesize that. What have we learned about the dumb archetype? Why do writers keep going back to this well?
Well, based on our discussion, we have identified 5 distinct types of false stupidity, or at least complexity.
Okay, let's list them out.
First, you have the voluntary dumb. That's Patrick and Homer. They have the capacity for genius via brain coral or crayon, but they reject. They prioritize happiness and social connection.
Which is a surprisingly deep philosophical stance, choosing bliss over burden.
Then you have the secretly competent. That's Cosmo and Sue, characters who are underestimated because of their personality or their chaotic nature, but who actually get the job done when it matters.
The ones you want in your team when the chips are down. Surprise.
Third, the biological anomaly. That is Fry. His lack of traditional intelligence is a literal superpower that saves the universe.
The anti-brain, a walking psychic shield.
Fourth, the misplaced genius. Kronk, a brilliant man in the wrong job, judged by the wrong metric. A chef forced to be a henchman.
Justice for Kronk. Give the man his own cooking show.
And finally, the passion savant, Ed. The kid who is a genius, but only about the things he loves, which for him is monster.
So what is the big takeaway here? Why do we love these characters so much?
I think it is because one-dimensional stupidity is boring. We laugh at it for a minute, but it gets old. These characters have depth. But more importantly, I think these characters represent a different kind of value. In a world and in stories that usually prizes logic, strategy, and high IQ, these characters bring heart. They bring emotional truth.
They ground the story.
They do. Patrick connects SpongeBob to the simple joy of friendship. Homer, for all his fault, loves his family deeply. Fry has more heart than anyone in the 31st century. Their stupidity breaks down walls that logic.
That's a great point. It also challenges us, the viewer. We laugh at them, but then they save the day. They solve the puzzle. They make the spinach puffs.
Exactly.
It forces us to ask, are we underestimating the people in our own lives who don't fit the traditional mold of smart?
That is the critical question. If we judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, we miss the fact that it's a great. These characters remind us to look for the hidden genius in the unexpected.
I love that. It is a redemption arc for the goofballs.
It is, for all the goofballs out there.
Okay, before we wrap up, I want to leave the listener with a final thought, a provocative question based on what we discussed about Patrick and Homer.
The Patrick question, or the Homer question.
Yep. Exactly. We saw that Patrick and Homer both had the chance to be genius. They had they had the crayon removed. They saw the world clearly. They understood the math. They saw the flaws in society.
And it broke them.
It made them miserable. And they chose to go back. They chose the blue pill, or in this case, the blue crayon.
Right.
So here is the question for you listening right now. If you could swallow a brain coral or remove a crayon, and instantly become a super genius, understanding every complexity of the universe, seeing every flaw in the system, but you knew it would make you miserable and alienate your friends, would you do it?
Or would you stay dumb and happy?
It is the ultimate ignorance is bliss test. Think about it. And the next time you see Patrick Star eating a rock, maybe show a little respect. He might just be the smartest guy in the room, pretending to be an idiot just to hang out with you.
Indubitably.
Thanks for diving deep with us. Go watch some cartoons. We will see you next time.